Hello, everyone. I am back for the last MLB DFS Slate breakdown of the 2023 season. It's been a great year. Thank you guys all for joining me. I've had a lot of fun doing the show. I've had a lot of fun playing MLB DFS, and I hope to see you all next year. I am not sure how much I will be involved in MLB DFS playoff, but there is a chance we see a video or two if the slates are big enough and whatnot. But all that being said, you got to come join us at LineStar. $39.99 per month gets you access to everything we do here at LineStar. The props AI tool, all of the DFS stuff, all for all the sports we cover, $39.99 per month. You will not find a better deal in DFS. I always believe that you should buy tools over buying picks, and that is exactly what we are doing. We are giving you tools to be successful. Now, if you just want to try us out, we do have a free 3-day trial that you can do in the Apple App Store or in both app stores. You just have to go through those app stores to be able to get that free trial. Now, that trial is only available if you are a new customer. If you're not a new customer, sorry, no trial. You got to just join us and step up to the big leagues. All right, now let's get into today's slate. We're going to start off by some projected ownership for pitchers and then some pitchers to consider, and as well as for stacks. Now, we're going to talk about some game theory stuff because a lot of weirdness could happen on today's slate. I am, however, skipping the rundown of yesterday's slate. I just got a lot to do with Shannon being out today, so where I can skim off a couple minutes, it's very, very useful. It also can just give us more time to talk about the actual slate. Also, with it being the last slate of the year, can't learn that too much from it. All in all, it's been a great season. Let's get into the fun for my last regular season slate I will be playing this year. I am taking Saturday and Sunday off for sure, playing DFS. Just spend some time with the fam, all that good stuff. All right. So, we got highest owned pitcher, Carlos Rodon, 37% owned. He is too cheap. He is in a decent spot here. The one thing, though, is there is actually very, very good hitting weather in Kansas City today, and it is one of the few spots that has good hitting weather. Rodon has been much better in the short term, 3.6 FIP, 27% K rate. So he does seem like he's starting to round out more into the Carlos Rodon we know. However, he's definitely not there yet, and there is nice hitting weather. With all of the weirdness that is going to be going on in today's pitching, I think it is, less likely that Rodon is limited at all. But you never know. He is high owned and it's good hitting weather. I don't love chasing that. John Means is probably my favorite spot of the day. I do think he's in a very good spot, and he does seem to be pitching a little bit better here. Red Sox just K a lot versus lefties. They're not that great of an offense versus lefties, so I like this spot, versus them. He's cheap. He can give us some upside. He showed it last time out, and he's shown it, several times through the last couple of years, and he's finally, worked himself to being fully stretched out. So I do like Means. He's been good against the Orioles, against Boston before, and I think he's in a decent spot here. I just don't love that he's going high owned. Next, we got Kikuchi. Kikuchi has been very, very good this season. Solid K rate. The one thing is, I do slightly worry if they're going to cut his innings a little bit short. 82 pitches versus New York versus Tampa, only 73 pitches or 73. So I do worry a little bit that they are considering taking him out of the game a little early, a la Zach Wheeler yesterday, who absolutely crushed me in props and ruined my 10 straight prop picks right streak. I did at least hit the AJ Smith-Sarver one. So my main pick streak is still rolling, but Perfecto is not. Anyways, I think Kikuchi's in a decent spot here. Tampa can strike out. Kikuchi can get the Ks. I just worry that he is going to be fully stretched out. Pivetta, he's in a very tough spot. He does have some big-time upside that we have seen lately. But this Orioles team has hit him well in the past, and I don't love trying to pick on him. He is one of those guys, though, that you might want just a little bit because how high the upside is. Now, Eovaldi, I think, should be higher owned. I don't think we're really going to be in a pinch for salary, and I think he is one of the pitchers that is likely in line for a little bit more of a workload due to the fact that he is still working back from his injury. So he went 35 pitches, September 5th, his first time out, 47, 73, 82, 86. I would expect him in that range still. So far this week, maybe he pushes 90, but we know Eovaldi can be a very, very good pitcher. He hasn't been great lately. It's also part of the reason I think he might be out there a little bit longer is the fact that they need to get him right for the playoffs. So he needs to work on some stuff and figure himself out. And when he is on, he is really on. So I do think he is very interesting. And LineStar agrees. 2.3x, 9,300. It's a nice little spot, nice little projection at low ownership. So I think it is interesting there. Joe Ryan, I am guessing, is going to be a little bit limited. It's also in Colorado. So kind of a weird spot here. And Ryan isn't great going away, so I am a little bit worried about him. Dodgers pitching has been, not great, and they've been riddled with injuries. I don't really know what they're going to do with their pitching today with Lance Lynn. It is kind of the last tune-up before playoffs for him, though, so maybe they do keep him out a little bit. Brian Wu struggles versus lefties. There's some real good lefties in this lineup, so it does worry me a little bit. But Wu's been good and can shut righties down for sure. Waldichuk, slightly interesting. I am fading him in the prop picks, taking under 17.5 outs. But there is a path to his success due to the Angels being so bad. The one issue I do need to bring up is that he is worse away. But he has shown a nice upside lately at his price, and so there is some interest there. I don't love Cease. Gallen is one of these plays that is very, very interesting to me. So we do have to worry about him being available for the playoffs, say come Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm not sure what day he plays, but the Diamondbacks also need to make the playoffs. So with that, I wouldn't be surprised if Gallen is going full out today. And there's not many pitchers today, especially elite pitchers, that are in that spot that could be going full out and in more of a playoff scenario where every pitch counts. With that, I think Gallen is a little interesting, even versus a very good Houston offense who really isn't playing for too much. So Gallen, he's cheap. There is definitely some wild card as far as how their Diamondbacks are going to use them. If they get up big, maybe he comes out a little early. Or if they get onto him, a little quick, maybe he comes out a little early. But he is an ace. And I would not be that surprised if he has an ace-like game in a game they need him to win. Outside of that, really not loving anybody else on this lower side here. Padres are still kind of in the mix for the playoffs. Not really, but Martinez probably doesn't go more than 70 pitches. It is a great spot, and he is cheap, though. But yeah, that's kind of that. On the FanDuel side, one thing I do want to say about pitching as a whole today is, don't necessarily need to play the chalk, as there's a ton of variance in the roles all these pitchers will have. But I also don't think you should really reach because of that variance. So, being slightly more on the safe side than normal is probably a good thing today, just because we really don't know what's going to happen in the pitcher market, as we've seen yesterday. Now, Wieman's highest owned here on FanDuel, 6,500. He's been decent in his short time up in the big leagues. He should be pretty much a full go today. He went 90 pitches last week, and I would expect, right around the same at his price versus a poor Nationals team. It is interesting. It is, however, one of the better hitting spots on the slate. Now, he is super cheap, so I think on FanDuel you can consider him. On DraftKings, probably a little too expensive to get to, but you could at least consider him on DK. Now we got Carlos Rodon, who we've gone over, Nathan Eovaldi we've gone over, and John Means. I think the three of these guys are, at decent ownership and are the guys I would probably be targeting, or probably will be targeting, as my pitchers for today's slate. I don't think we need to get that different going with somebody lower owned here. Now, let's get over to some stacks. Now, we do have a Colorado game, so obviously there's going to be some ownership there, but we have a similar run total in Atlanta, also a very high run total in St. Louis and in Arizona. All of those spots I think are interesting, as well as KC, and we should probably be attacking those spots a little more than everywhere else. Also, just FYI, the Mets versus Phillies has been postponed. So just know that it is really a 12-game slate, not a 13. And let's figure this slate out from a stack standpoint. If my computer wants to update. All right, there we go. All right, so highest owned stack is Minnesota at Colorado. No surprise. Block isn't very good. Minnesota's been hitting. They are one of those teams, though, that I don't love to stack when they are high owned. I think they are a decent offense, not a great offense, and I just don't like following chalk to those type of offenses. Braves are right with them, as well as the Yankees. Braves are in a very good spot. Nice hitting weather. Trevor Williams on the bump, which you can absolutely crush. And for the Yankees, they are in a great spot. I really do like the Yankees today. I wish they were a little bit lower owned, but with having three teams this high owned or similar ownership, it just means as a whole, ownership is getting stretched out a little bit. And it's going to be easy to find pieces with those stacks that are lower owned. So you can still play these three teams, just get a little different with your stack. Find a couple pieces that aren't quite as high owned and add them in instead of going for, say, the 4 or 5 highest owned guys for that stack. And you can still play them. I think all of them are in good spots, and I am interested in every one of them. Now let's go to the highest projected by LineStar. And our highest projected stack is the Braves versus Trevor Williams. No surprise here. One of the things I want to point out here, up near the top, there are several teams that are in the 60s for projected ownership on a 5-man stack. That's pretty good when you're considering it is one of the, top stacks of the day. I definitely like getting to some Brave stacks. And today it should be a day where you can fairly easily. Pitching isn't very expensive and a lot of volatility there. So you could definitely get to the Braves. Now let's go to the value side, which really we don't need to get to much value today unless you want to say go Evaldi and Gallen, which is getting you very different at pitching, giving you some high upside. And then in that case, you may want some value stacks. Oakland is one that makes some sense. Silseth hasn't been great. Oakland can hit a little better than I think most people think so. Yankees have some value in their stacks. Washington, Winans has been good, but he's still a very young pitcher, and any hitter can get to a young pitcher. So I think there are some very interesting ways to get there with some value. You could also go to the Royals or to the Rockies, all of which are in very good hitting environments. Ceiling wise, we got the Braves, the Padres. I think the Padres are an interesting one versus Cease because we've seen Cease struggle with some command, and then it can unravel with him pretty quickly when that happens, and nobody is going to the Padres, so a little interesting there. Houston's always kind of in play, but it is Gallen and in a playoff type scenario for them. Arizona is very interesting. I think JP France has fallen off a little bit, 6 FIP over his last 5. The other thing is Houston doesn't have much they're playing for right now, so they may have, some kid gloves on him and not have him go all out today. Texas, I love the lefties versus Woo. So all of those are interesting. Let's click the teams to see if we're missing anything. So Colorado is one of the teams I am interested in. One, we're not sure how far Joe Ryan is going to pitch into this game, but it's at elevation and in decent weather for hitting. So I do like Colorado going pretty much unowned. Arizona we like. Cincinnati is somewhat interesting. They are still fighting for a playoff spot, so they want it. One that is not popping up here is KC. The best hitting weather today is in KC. They are at home. We've seen Rodon get blown up today. He is also a high-owned pitcher, so there is some leverage with that stack. He's allowing hard hit rate, a high hard hit rate, high average exit velocity. I think he is very interesting. And nobody's going to go there. They're also going to be a cheaper stack. So that's the leverage stack for me today. Play it a little bit, won't play it a ton, but it is an interesting one. Washington will also, at least on FanDuel, give you some leverage because Winans is high owned. So I think the 3 high owned teams are interesting. Obviously, just make sure you're trying to get a little different with those ones. I think Colorado's good. KC is good. Padres are good. And you can always go Dodgers. All right, guys. That'll do it for today and the season. Thank you guys for joining me. It's been fun. We've all won some money. Let's hopefully win some more today and win some more during NFL this weekend. Hope you guys have a good one. Appreciate it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to all our videos. It helps us out a ton. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you. Bye.